here we go again to an amazing release session together with our colleague from the product management, Florian Strobl, who is responsible of our Universal Management Suite and ICG products. Florian, how are you?
Hello, Seb. I'm fine, thank you. And thanks for having me here and presenting all the nice features that we will release with the UMS 12.5. So let's jump directly in. So the release date for the UMS 12.5 will be the 15th of July. And now let's focus on the features that will be released. In the UMS Web App, we have following changes. You all know that probably you want to configure the wallpapers of IGEL UMS. You want to configure the screensavers or the start menu icon. Until now, it was possible to use an easy feature in the UMS console. It's named firmware customization, and that was easily possible to configure wallpaper, screensavers, and so on. This feature has been missing in the UMS Web App. Now with 12.5, we have this amazing feature also in the web app. We call it corporate identity customization. So the big change here is that you cannot only configure one use case like wallpaper, taskbar, screensaver. You can combine them in one object. So you can create one corporate identity customization object, and you can select which use cases you want to configure with this object. And then you only have all the relevant parameters that are really necessary to do this. This is really straightforward. And once it's configured and rolled out to the device, you will have the new corporate identity on the device. Then, as we have more and more configuration objects in the web app, we introduce a new menu organization. So from now on, you can see new tabs in the configuration section, and one tab for the profiles, one for the priority profiles, the corporate identity customization, and the files. So you only see the tree and the icons of the object in this tree in this section. And if you want to go to the next object type, then you just change the tab here. So this simplifies the menu and the organization in the web app. Then, based on feedback from the community, we changed the default filters in our search. So now the default filters are the installed apps, the last boot time, and the device name. And of course, as always, you can then just configure and add new filters to the search. So there we didn't change anything. Then once you have created new searches, it's now possible to share your search with your colleagues. So you can just click on the share option button and then activate the check mark. And then all other admins on the server can have access to your search. But no worries, they have no rights to edit your search. But if they want to, they can copy the search, and then they have the possibility, of course, to edit it and then share it again if they want. So this is a great tool for collaboration and a great improvement here in the search area. Then another feature optimization for the search. Until now, it was only possible to search for absolute numbers, so for specific time, dates, and now it's possible to have our relative search. So you can search for the last week, for the last day.
That's something which is extremely helpful, because if I think back to the moment where I first played around with the views inside of the UMS, it was extremely hard to understand what absolute, relative, boot time, and so on was related to. So having this simplified for our users is a big, big help.
Yeah, I totally agree. Then also based on feedback, we optimized the save concept for template keys. we simplified the way how to create and save the template keys. And I'm really looking forward for the feedback of community if we did a good job here. Then just a small change, we also added a new template key, a new static template key, serial number. So now you can use the serial number as a template key for specific parameters.
Hold on, Flo, because that's something where I had to do some research on my own, and I just had a mistake in my mind. I would think the serial number was already available, but it wasn't. It was unit ID, MAC address, and host name. So just in case, if you have any scripts out there who are using this from older and former profile versions, please take a look at this, because there you don't have to use any DMI decode comments anymore, but just use a template key, which is extremely helpful. So big change, even if just a small name, but a big change for our users. Great job.
Thank you. Okay, then let's go to the UMS console. We also have some changes here. So one really nice improvement that I personally like a lot is we have a new default directory rule. This default directory rule is based on the OBS user. So given the case, you have an employee and he is registering his or her device with the onboarding service. So they type in their name, and then they are registered into the UMS. With this default directory rule, you can configure that this specific name or the role of the user or even the domain of the email address is now transferred to a specific directory. And with that, you can then achieve that this device can get automatically the right configurations without any involvement from you. So this is just a small new default directory rule, but it could have an immense effect on the workload because it can reduce it a lot. Then another change, we now separate or we show the separation in the ICG. So as you know, the ICG 12 has an OS 11 connection and an OS 12 connection. And now you can see if both of them are running correctly or not. So this can help you figuring out if you have any issues, what is the cause, or even if you're in contact with support, you can give them the information here. So that's a great help to find the root cause of issues related to the ICG. Let's talk about the IMI, our IGEL management interface. Here we have a great extension. So now it's possible to configure template keys via the IMI. So you can now create, read, and assign template keys and values to devices. And this is a great step in the right direction, and it could help you to increase automation in your organization.
Hold on. You put that at the end of your presentation? That's one of the biggest changes in the history of the UMS in the last 5 years. Now, honestly, the REST API is something that we are not using that much at the moment because it was lacking a couple of features. And you know, Flo, that I'm really looking forward to get a proper and more feature-enhanced AMI coming up. But having this opens a lot of possibilities in terms of overtaking, changing, deploying profiles and configuration sets to our customers. So, wow, that's really important to know.
I know that the community loves the IMI, and I hope that this brings great value to them. Okay, then updates about network settings. So as you probably know, OS 12 and UMS is compatible with a number of different reverse proxies like Nginx, F5 Big IP, and Azure Application Gateway. We now also have a documentation how to set up Citrix NetScaler in a correct way, so it's compatible with OS 12 and UMS 12. So this is also a great achievement here. And I know that a lot of customers asked for this documentation. Then another highly requested feature is that you can configure now if a device should prefer the ICG connection or the UMS connection. By the way, this was already rolled out with the UMS version 12.4.120. You also need the OS 12 version 12.4.1 for it. And with both versions, and then of course with 12.5 as well, it's possible to set the ranking for the device connections. So you can set if you want to prefer ICG, UMS, or it doesn't matter. Then let's talk about the IGEL Cloud Gateway. There we have a nice little restart button implemented. So it simplifies the way that you can now restart the ICG via the console.
So that's something which is extremely important to all our users, because you don't have to SSH your box anymore to restart something, right? So you can just do it from the UMS console, and you don't have to use any additional software anymore. So it just maybe a small change, but I know how much time I had to reboot my ICG due to network changes on my hypervisor on the cloud. So that's cool. Very good.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the updates and supports. So we extended our support for Azure SQL managed instances. It's now also possible to authenticate with Entra ID. Then we have our regular updates for Tomcat. We now have 10.1.24 and the Java updates. And of course, we have the regular Angular node updates for the UMS. For ICG, also we have Tomcat and Java updates, and very important and highly requested from the IGEL community, I know, is the support for Debian 12.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, that's now available with ICG 12.5.100. So, why should you update to UMS 12.5? I tried to put everything in a nutshell here. So you have the great corporate identity customization feature in the UMS Web App to easily customize your OS desktop and screensavers and a lot more corporate identity objects. Then you have the nice default directory rule for OBS users to achieve zero touch and day one deployment. Then you have an IMI extension to configure template keys and increase automation here. You have, of course, a lot of UI UX improvements and, of course, the recent security updates. So I guess, Sebastian, these are a lot of good reasons to update to 12.05. What do you think?
It does, no doubt. And that's maybe a good handover to something which I'm mentioning more or less in every release session. To everyone who is watching this video and you are still on UMS 6, moving to UMS 12 doesn't mean that your OS 11 device will not function anymore. You don't have to stay on 6. Everything that you have on 6 will also and is already available on 12. And there will be no further UMS 6 versions anymore. So we are taking over the train, moving to 12, and we stay on 12. So please, if you're on 6 and you need help on updates, please ask us on the IGEL community, and we'll be happy to help you on this journey. But again, OS 12 and UMS 12 is a great mix, but UMS 12 and OS 12 works as well. Just a small dub from my thought from my end. Thank you very much, Flo, for taking the time and showing us the great work that you and the dev team in Augsburg delivered. I would say let's look what the 12.06 version will bring in the near future. And in the meantime, I wish you a pleasant rest of your day and see you soon.
Thank you. You're more than welcome. Have a nice day. Bye.